Hello survivors, welcome back to the channel. Just want to do a quick video on what it means to live with a tiger and how it forms codependency in us as children, and is something that we live with in this subconscious reaction to for the rest of our lives. And my experience with that is that when you are with a narcissistic parent, my mom was that way, but she was covert, so she wasn't overt. She really identified with the victim role, and I there was a lot of role reversal that went on. She even used to always say, "Who's the parent?" kind of like putting me down, but also just acknowledging, kind of laughing about it too, but when you live with a tiger or a predator, you're always scanning the horizon for danger, to be safe, and it creates in us a type of hypervigilance where we are always looking for things that are unsafe in the environment, because survivorship or survival is a primary instinct in us. It trumps so many other things. Just about anything else. Your innate instinct is to self-preserve and survive. So you will give up. Nothing else will become more important. And so we learn as young children that if there's danger in the environment or on the horizon, we may all develop different coping mechanisms with how to address that danger, but there will be an effect. There will be an adjustment that becomes internal, because, for example, if someone's always jumping out in front of you and screaming, you're going to be anticipating that. And so you may become anxious or nervous, always waiting for that person to come out jumping and screaming. Or if someone's always attacking you, you may learn to develop, a knee-jerk defense to protect yourself. Or if your response is fawning, you may learn how to console that person with your words, or make sure that they're in an okay place, because by them being safe, you ensure your own safety. By them being in a good place, and I always say, like, keeping them cool, you ensure that you're not going to be attacked. I even see this with, like, alcoholic parents, alcoholic mother, alcoholic father, that a lot of times there's maintenance by the spouse or the children to make sure mommy or daddy's okay, so that the rage from the alcoholic, their own internal chaos, isn't projected outwards onto their surrounding people and family most often, and that the family learns quickly how to maintain or placate or address what's going on. It's a survival mechanism. So, the living with a tiger, I think, is a good image for how one does become codependent. And more than likely, it entails some compassion towards the parent, because they probably had their own tiger that they lived with, and this narcissism or covert narcissism or whatever it was developed out of living with their own tiger. I look at my father and I see similar codependent traits in him that I see in myself. And I know that his father was very, I would call him a tiger personality. And my mother's father, definite narcissist, Olympic athlete, alcoholic. Life becomes scary, and so you do what you need to do to survive. And so it's no wonder, we're not the first generation to experience this, if you look back to what they were dealing with as a parent, it gives you some compassion towards who they've become now. And it actually explains a lot about family dynamics. With a narcissistic or covert narcissistic borderline parent with a codependent parent, you learn from both parents. And if you have two parents present, some people only have one parent present in their family unit. So it's just recognizing that and seeing, it was another aha moment for me when I realized that the reason I was hyper vigilant, hyper academic, hyper into performing and pleasing was because I had to keep the tiger calm. I had to, manage, always be on management channel. I didn't have time to lose control or party or do drugs or crash cars or whatever else, because I had to be in control. I had to maintain reality. Otherwise, it was survival. I was out of the house, working at 14 and living. And it's just interesting to see how we cope with different things. So if you are in or keep finding yourself in relationships with narcissists and playing the codependent, people-pleasing role, you might want to ask yourself, in what way am I walking around a tiger? In what way have I gotten used to and accommodated the feeling of tiptoeing around a tiger? In what ways is that familiar? In what ways is that feel like this is what I recognize as love because it's so familiar? It's on this deep, ingrained childhood level. It might be worth looking at your family dynamic, as well as at the same time trying to have compassion for the predator, for the tiger, and try to understand, they may have the tigers that they dealt with too. So I just want to do that quick video on what it means to live with a tiger. And if any of you have experiences that you want to share, I'm totally welcome to hearing those. I think we all have our own crazy stories about what happened in childhood, and that's why we, repeat them in adulthood. And I think I love, can't remember if it's Harville Hendrix in Getting the Love You Want, or if it was Howard Halpern in How to Break Your Addiction to a Person, but it was one of them, perhaps even both, who said, we seek out and we recreate relationships with our romantic partners that duplicate or sort of what's the word? Their semblance of the relationship we had with our most traumatic parent. And we try to fix, that's a very codependent word, by the way, we try to fix the relationship with that parent that we were never able to fix with our spouse. So we, and I know this is true for me, is that I have found partners that match up with the most traumatic experiences and parts of the dynamic that, I've tried to work out. But now I see that now I come at it with a different level of awareness, and I see that that's just propagating the issue, propagating the problem, propagating the dynamic. What I really need to do is change myself, which is where we all need to start. And we all have the capability, because we can't really change someone else. You can't find someone who has the same issue as your parent did and then try to fix them. It's just like doing the same thing over and over again. So if you have learned to walk on tiptoes around a tiger, see if you can imagine what it means to unlearn that, and see, instead of trying to find another tiger to tiptoe around, see if you can address what's going on inside of you and just recognize that behavior, because sometimes awareness is half the battle. We're more than half the battle. That's that's all I'm going to say on that subject for right now. But it's an interesting thing to observe in oneself, and then also within those who are abusers, to see in what ways they have experienced that too, and they may have had a different response. Like they may not have gone into codependency, they may have gone into narcissism or borderline, or a whole host of other things, to coping strategies to deal with it. So just wishing you peace and sanity. I have some peace and sanity over here. This is my dog. She's pretty peaceful. She doesn't worry about any of this stuff. But wishing you peace and sanity, and as always, just stay healthy, stay safe, and stay sane. Thanks for watching.